वक्रतुण्डमहाकाय सूर्यकोटिसमप्रभ निर्विघ्नं कुरु मे देव सर्वकार्येषु सर्वदा. स्तुभ्यं वरदे कामरूपिणी विद्यारम्भं करिष्यामि सिद्धिर्भवतु मे सदा. गुरवे सर्वलोकानां विषये भवरोगिणां निधये सर्वविद्यानां दक्षिणामूर्तये नमः. ईश्वरो गुरुरात्मेति मूर्तिभेदविभागिने व्योमवद्व्याप्तदेहाय दक्षिणामूर्तये नमः. श्रुतिस्मृतिपुराणानाम् आलयं करुणालयं नमामि भगवत्पादं शङ्करं लोकशङ्करम्. सदाशिवसमारम्भां शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम्. साक्षात्कृतं दयानन्दं परमार्थस्वरूपिणं तत्त्वज्ञानप्रशास्तारं प्रणतोऽस्मि परं. ॐ सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै. ॐ शान्तिः शान्तिः शान्तिः. ॐ पार्थाय प्रतिबोधितां भगवता नारायणेन स्वयं व्यासेन ग्रथितां पुराणमुनिना मध्ये महाभारतम् अद्वैतामृतवर्षिणीं भगवतीम् अष्टादशाध्यायिनीम् अम्ब त्वामनुसन्दधामि भगवद्गीते भवद्वेषिणी. मूकं करोति वाचालं पङ्गुं लङ्घयते गिरिं यत्कृपात्तमहं वन्दे परमानन्दमाधवम्. नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरयेत्. Can repeat the 23rd shloka. नैनं छिन्दन्ति शस्त्राणि
नैनं छिन्दन्ति शस्त्राणि
नैनं दहति पावकः
नैनं दहति पावकः
न चैनं क्लेदयन्त्यापः
न चैनं क्लेदयन्त्यापः
न शोषयति मारुतः
न शोषयति मारुतः
अच्छेद्योऽयमदाख्योऽयम् अच्छेद्यो शोष्य एव च नित्यः सर्वगतस्थाणुः अचलोऽयं सनातनः
चलोऽयं सनातनः
Avyaktoyamachintyoyam
Avyaktoyamachintyoyam
Vikaryoyamuchyate
Vikaryoyamuchyate
Tasmadevam vididvainam
Tasmadevam vididvinam
Nashochitam harhasi.
Nanushoshitum arhasi.
This 25th shloka we have seen. Upadesha started from the 11th shloka. Ashocyan Anvashochyastvam iti shlokat arabhya. Now the 25th shloka Bhagavan Krishna says, Na shochitum arhasi. He started with Ashocyan Anvashochyastvam. You are worrying for that which should not be worried upon, which doesn't deserve worry. And here he says, Shochitum na hargasi. Shochitum, it ought not to be grieved upon. Iti, all the way the teaching is for the removal of shoka. Why shoka? Because the vastu, the tattvam is not understood, rather misunderstood. What Atma is, that knowledge, that knowledge is not there. On the other hand, the ignorance, the opposite of that is present. Therefore, dukkham. For dukkham to go, we don't have to bring something new which can bring peace, shanti. For dukkham to go, the cause for dukkham, which is ajnanam, that has to go. The upadesha is. That is why upadesha. Only by teaching that ajnanam can be removed. Therefore, only upadesha. So, and the teaching is Atma is Nityaha. Atma is Nitya. It cannot be destroyed. It is always present. There is no place where Atma is not there. So, Atma Satyaha, it is a truth. It is Sanatanaha. It is the Sanatana. Atma is Sanatanaha. Sanatanaha means it is there. It is there from the beginning. Atma doesn't have a beginning. It is Anadi. It doesn't have an end. No beginning, no end. That which has a beginning only can end. Atma doesn't have a beginning, doesn't have an end also. So, Anadi Ananta Atma. If Atma is Anadi and it is Ananta, Ananta also means it is infinite, complete, Purna. It cannot be fulfilled. That which is already full cannot be fulfilled. It doesn't require anything else for fulfillment. It is complete. That is Atma. That Atma is not different from you. That is Upadesha. It means you are already full. You are already complete. You are the very meaning of the word, meaning of the word Purnam, Purnatvam. You are the meaning of the word. If at all there is a word Purna, Purna word is there. The meaning of the word Purna cannot be anything other than you. You are the meaning of the word Purnaha, satisfaction, complete. Where there is completeness, adequacy, complete adequacy, there only happiness is, comfort is, security is. So you are the very meaning of the word comfort. You are the very meaning of the word security. You are the very meaning of the word perfection, completeness. And that you, it is Sat. It is Sat. It exists. When? There is no question of when. Only when it comes and goes, then only you have to ask when it came and when it went, gone. There is no question of coming and going for Atma. That is why Nityaha, Sanatanaha, Purnaha iti. If Atma is Sat, if Atma is absolutely existent, that absolute existence is Atma, then how can this Atma be destroyed? Atma cannot be destroyed. That is what these shlokas said. Shastrani na chindanti, pavakaha na dagati, apaha na kledayanti, marutaha na shoshayati. Marutaha na shoshayati. Shaktam na shaknoti. It cannot. Even if it wants, it cannot. Therefore, achedyoyam, adagyoyam. The next sloka is achedyoyam, adagyoyam iti. That Atma is not available for cutting. It cannot be cut. Kopi kartayitum na shaknoti. Achedyam. Achedyam is the capacity or the ability to cut. It doesn't have that. It doesn't have the capacity. It doesn't have that yogyata to be cut. It means Atma cannot be cut. It cannot be destroyed. It cannot be destroyed by any means. Therefore, it is Sat. That which is absolutely existent, that cannot enjoy non-existence. It cannot be made into a non-existent thing. Atma is always Sat. It is not, Sat means always. There is no time. That is the very meaning of the word Sat. Yat trikale tishtati tat Sat. Tat Sat Saha Atma. That which is Sat is this Atma. So Atma is Sat. And the Sat alone, it manifests in the Chetana beings as Chaitanyam, Chaitanya Rupena, therefore Sat Chit. And that is Anantaha, it is complete. Therefore Sat Chit Anandaha, these are the Lakshanam of Atma. So Atma is Sat. If Atma is Sat, is there anything other than Atma? If Atma is what is absolutely exist as existence, is there anything other than Atma, Anatma? Is Anatma there? Really speaking, Anatma not there. Where is Anatma? Anatma, the content of Anatma is also Atma only. Minus Atma, Anatma doesn't exist. The very content of Anatma, anything you take, Anatma Vastu, it is Atma only. Then where is Anatma? Anatma is that which has dependent existence on Atma. Therefore, Anatma is Mithya. We have seen the word Mithya. That which has dependent existence is called Mithya. Mithya means dependent existence. Doesn't mean absolute non-existence. We cannot talk about absolute non-existence. We can talk about only the existing things, existence. And that existence can be apparent existence, the seeming existence, and the existence, the real existence. Atma is Sat, that which has real existence, existentially real. Anatma, it is not real. It seems to be enjoying the reality. It seems to be enjoying the reality, Therefore, the reality is Atma because it seems to be enjoying. Therefore it has dependent existence. Therefore, it is not Sat, it is Asat. Therefore, it is Asat because in the Prapancha, in the world, we interact with the objects, interact with the people. So, therefore, two things are there. I, the Atma, is there. I, the Atma, the Swarupam of myself, Atma, that I don't know. But I is there. I always Spurati. Aham iti Vritya Spurati. That I is always Spurati. It is there. The I with lot of adjectives are there. That is a problem. But I is there. I and other than I. I, Atma, and other than Atma. That is our interaction. Atma, Anatma interaction. I am there and other than me are there. Other than me, I classify them as Anatma. I interact with the objects. Objects are Anatma. So two things seem to be present. Therefore, only we have the notion of Dvaitam. But where is Dvaitam, really speaking? There is no Dvaitam. If you ask Gaudapada, who wrote Mandukya Karika, you will ask, where is Dvaitam? Where is Anatma? You show me. Where Anatma? You show me. There is no Anatma. I don't see Anatma at all, he will say. Gaudapada will say, there is no Anatma. Where is Anatma? You go to the shop, the earthenware shop. You see lot of objects made of clay. Lot of objects are there made of clay. And you are buying pot, you are buying spoon, you are buying plate, you are buying lot of other utensils, all made of clay you are buying. For you, there are so many objects. But for Gaudapada, he doesn't see anything other than clay. He will see only clay. When you buy a pot, he has the vision of clay only. When you buy a plate, he has a vision of clay only. When you buy a glass that made of clay, that also you will see only it has clay only. For him, it is only clay. So you are buying nothing but the clay, but not the lump of clay, but the clay with certain forms. For you, it may be different things. For him, it is only clay. You are buying and you are paying price only for the clay. For Namarupa, you don't pay. The Namarupa, how can you pay for Namarupa? It is Mithya. Maybe the shop owner may charge you for Namarupa, but Namarupa you don't buy really. You don't buy really Namarupa. You buy only clay. That is the vision of the Jnani. Similarly, if you go to the gold shop, lot of ornaments are there. Ornaments of different sizes, different designs are there. And each ornament has got different rate. For you, it is all different. But for a knowledgeable person, for that one need not be a jnani. Even one knows the what the ornament is made of. That knowledge is enough. He will see only it as gold. So you are paying price for the gold plus the price for the Mithya Namarupa. That is the total price you pay for what you buy. What you actually there is only gold. But you don't here also you don't buy a lump of gold. You buy ornaments of different designs, different forms are there, and making the form involves some effort. For that you pay some price. So gold price plus that charge for making that form. But the form is really doesn't exist. You don't buy the form alone. You don't buy the gold alone leaving the form, or you don't buy the form alone leaving the gold. If you buy the form leaving the gold, you don't really buy anything. Where is the form now? The form has got a name. necklace. Where is necklace? Really, necklace not there. What is there? It's only the gold. So, for a jnani, you say Atma, Anatma. You will ask you where is Anatma? Anatma not there. Where there is no Anatma. What is there is only Atma. I see only Atma. Only Ishvara I see everywhere. There is nothing other than Ishvara, Bhagavan. When everything is Bhagavan, everything is Ishvara, everything is you, then how there can be the problem of samsara? How can there be the problem of this grief, the worry? Grief has no place when everything is Atma, everything is you, the Atma, which is not different from Ishvara. But for you, it is Anatma. It is Srishti, something it is created. And created is different from you. Because you have the perception of objects, you have the perception of things. So therefore you say that it is something other than you. It is the created one, created prapancha, and you have to interact with the created prapancha. So when there is interaction between the two, now the resultant of that friction of interaction gives you pain, gives you problem. Therefore you worry. You say, now, is the creation really a problem? Is the objects really create problem? Do the people really outside the surroundings, do they really create problem? Can they become really the cause of the samsara? Can they really become the matter of worry, the concern? It is the srishti which is there, which has got the karanam, Bhagavan as a karanam. The srishti, the prapancha, which exists, which you perceive, it's really is not different from Bhagavan. It is Ishvara. So it is not something which is created different from Bhagavan. It is created out of Bhagavan. In fact, it is Bhagavan alone. It is Ishvara alone. So the created is Ishvara. The prapancha, the Jagat is Ishvara. And the creator is also Ishvara. Jagat, the created, is Ishvara, and the creator also is Ishvara. And you are also one among the created. How can you be away from Ishvara? You cannot be away from Ishvara. So, when you cannot be away from Ishvara, you alienate yourself from Ishvara deliberately, not deliberately. You alienate yourself away from Ishvara, not knowingly, without knowing, you alienate yourself. That is the problem. That is samsara. You look upon yourself as something which is different from Bhagavan. You also being the part of the created. Therefore, you are also one with Ishvara alone. When created is Ishvara, you also being a part of the created. Therefore, you are also one with Ishvara alone. How can you be different, something different from Ishvara? The problem is alienation. You alienate yourself from Ishvara, that is the problem. That is why the worry is, the samsara is. You may ask, how is that the created, how can the created be as same as the Ishvara? The created must be different from the creator. That is what we perceive in the world. You may say, and you may give a logic also. The pot is created. The pot is created. Who created the pot? From what he created? A pot maker created the pot. How did he create the pot? By from the clay, lump of clay, he created the pot. So, therefore, two causes are there. One is the pot maker is a cause. Other one is the material for making the pot, that is the lump of clay. So two causes are there. So dve karane staha. for any creation. That is our perception in the world. Anything we see, it is a product, it's a karya, it must have a karanam, and there will be two types of karanam. Two karanam must be there for creating anything. One is the maker, other one is the material. In Sanskritam, we called the maker as the nimitta karanam and the material as upadana karanam. So two karanams must be there. Upadana karana drishtya, from the standpoint of the material cause, you can say the pot is nothing but the clay, because the pot is created out of clay. From the upadana karana drishtya, you can say, from the standpoint of the material cause, you can say the created, that is the karya, the product, is not different from the karanam, the cause. That you can say. But how can you say the nimitta, the creator, how can the creator be? How can the creator also included in the creator? The created is pot. The pot is there. You don't see the pot maker in the pot. The pot maker is outside the pot. You may argue. So nimitta karanam, upadana karanam, two karanams being there. From the standpoint of the upadana karanam, the standpoint of the upadana karanam, the created is not different from the material out of which it is created. But what about the creator? Creator is there. The creator you don't see in the pot. Similarly, the Jagat also, the Jagat you are saying Ishvara is the Jagat is created, and the created is not different from Ishvara. You say, how can in the created Ishvara be? Like in the pot, how can the pot maker be? You don't see the pot maker in the creator. Therefore, creator must be different from the material out of which he created this Jagat. This may be the argument. This argument seems to be very logical, highly logical. This argument is the argument of Sankhya Darshanam, Sankhya philosophy. For Sankhya Darshanam is one of the Darshanam, Astika Darshanam. For them, there are two things. It is a Dvaita Darshanam. Two things. One is, for them, there are two things are there. One is Purusha, other one is Prakriti. Purushas are conscious beings, and the Prakriti is this material. Purusha and Prakriti. Two things are there. So therefore, this Purusha, this material, this Prakriti is a material cause, and the Purusha is the Nimitta. So it's a Dvaita philosophy, therefore they say, and it seems to be very, very highly appealing to us because of our common sense logic. Because they give example, they counter us by saying this: pot maker is not seen in the pot. Pot is made from the lump of clay. So it is logical to say the created pot is not different from the material clay. That is okay. But what about the creator? Where is the creator in the pot? Therefore, the creator must be different from the created. Iti, they give this logical example. They give the logic through example. But we can give another example to counter the logic. To contradict them, we can give another logic. Because logic, Swamiji used to say, logic is a donkey. It can take any load. So we can counter them by giving another logic. What is another logic? Upanishad itself gives an example, a beautiful example Upanishad gives. Yato nanavi srijate gridnate cha yata pratavyam oshadayas sambhavanti yata satah purushat keshalo mani tataksharat sambhavati iha vishwam. Urnanabi is spider. The spider creates the web. The spider is the creator of the web. So spider is the maker, is the nimitta karanam. And what it creates It creates a web. From where it got the material to create the web. To create the web, it didn't go anywhere to search for material and brought material and built it. No. The material for the web also came out from the spider. It produces the material out of itself. The spider produces the material for the web out of itself. So the material is not different from the maker, the spider. So spider is both the material cause as well as the maker as well as the material. It is a nimitta karanam, it is a upadana karanam for the srishti web, spider web. That is how spider web is created. Spider, it emits out a thread, a thin thread, out of which creates a web, and once it is created and caught the prey, then it takes back the thread. That is called pralaya. So Srishti is creation, emitting out the web, and Pralaya is taking back, resolving back the Srishti. So spider example is that you are giving pot maker pot example. I can give you spider web example. Even the spider web example also may have some limitation, but there is another beautiful example to contradict the logic of Dvaita. What is that logic? Swapnam, dream. Dream is a best example. In dream, what happens? A world is created, and the world is called dream world. A dream world consisting of the objects, the people, the things are there, many things are there. You create, you are the creator, you are the Ishvara. You become the Ishvara in the dream. In the dream world is created out of you. So you are the creator. You are the creator of the dream world. How the dream world is created, from where you got the material for creating the dream world. In the dream world, you have the perception of mountain, you have the perception of the water, the river, Agni. All the Panchabhutas are there in the dream. From where you got the material for creating the Panchabhuta and the elementals, from where you got, it all came out of yourself. You are the creator and you are the material also. So both the material for designing, for creating the dream, and the maker of the dream is you only. So you created, you projected the dream, that is called Srishti. And you also a part of the creation. You are the created and the created is you, and you also play a role in the dream. And in the pralaya, what happens? That whole dream world is resolved back into yourself. So the material goes back to you, goes back to the maker. So it is very logical to say that the creator need not be separate from the creator. So you cannot prove it by giving examples. You cannot logically establish this by giving example, because there are other examples available where we can see the maker and material not different for creating something. Examples are there. So you cannot prove a darshanam, a philosophy by example. Upanishad gives example, and we have beautiful example dream that we every day we undergo the experience of sleep. So in that we are the creator. So therefore, what is this prapancha now? The dream world is subjective reality. The dream world is subjective reality. It is only for you. It is only for you, not for the others. With respect to the waking world, in the dream world, you only can have the anubhava, can enjoy the experience. Other person who is sleeping next to you, he cannot have the same dream. So that is subjective. So you are living the subjective world in the dream for some time. That is called subjective reality. That subjective reality, what is the how much the subjective reality has value as say over this empirical reality. When you wake up, when you wake up, the reality is empirical reality. You see the prapancha, you see the jagat, you see the people. That is subject, that is empirical reality. This reality, empirical reality, how much it is different from the subjective reality. Is it different or same? It is different. The subjective reality is only for you. You are the subject. You are the creator. You are the material, and you alone play the all the roles. You alone play all the roles. And the subjective reality do not touch the empirical reality. The reality are completely different. When you experience, when you have a terrible dream, a tiger chasing you, you sweat in the dream. You sweat, and you are afraid of the tiger. You run, and when you get up, you realize there is no tiger. Then you become calm. You become peaceful. You understand. You wake up to this empirical reality to understand the subjective, the reality. It has got the limitation only there only. When you wake up, then there is no more fear, the fear of tiger chasing you, because it is not a reality in the empirical world. Similarly, the empirical reality also, like the subjective reality, it is it is also mithya. As the subjective reality is not true with regard to the empirical reality, similarly, the empirical reality is also not true with respect to the absolute reality. The absolute reality is everything is Atma. That is the truth. That is the vision of the Shastram. So, with respect to absolute reality, this empirical reality is as much true as the subjective reality for the empirical reality. So, therefore, what is truth is Atma alone is true. It is the reality. It is the reality. Now, this empirical reality, even if you take, it is Srishtam, created by Jagat, created by Ishvara. The Jagat created by Ishvara, can it be a real cause of problem? The Jagat being what it is, how can it create problem for you? That is Ishvara Srishti. Ishvara Srishti cannot be the cause for samsara. The problem of samsara is not located in the Srishti. The problem, like the problem in the subjective reality, like the dream, the tiger dream in the subjective reality, the problem, what you experience, it is purely subjective. It is again Jiva Srishti alone. Jiva Srishti. You created, you created a Srishti, a world for you, and you fight with the world. That is a problem. A mountain or a tree, what you see, cannot be the cause for problem. Even a person also cannot be the cause for problem. The person, what the person is, cannot really be the cause of sorrow or problem for you. Your projection towards a person can cause, that is only can cause problem. That only can cause you problem. So for your projection, like your projection subject in dream, that subjective reality. So that is called Jiva Srishti. Your Jiva Srishti, your own, the creation of the world, that alone is the cause for the samsara. Ishvara Srishti, this Jagat being Paramatma, Ishvara, how can that be the cause of problem, can be the source of problem? It cannot be. So, what can be the cause of source of problem is your Srishti, your own created this imaginary world, the prapancha. That alone can be the cause for pain. A jnani also after jnanam, he lives in the world. He doesn't have problem. He doesn't have problem. He also like you living in the same empirical world. Where is the problem for him? He doesn't have problem. He also faces people, he also faces the situations like you, but he doesn't have problem. Whereas you complain problem because you are living in a limited reality. You are confining yourself to a particular reality, and that a reality is reality for you. It is created by you, Jiva Srishti. So, what I'm saying is the source of sorrow cannot be this, cannot be the Ishvara Srishti. Jiva Srishti alone is the source of samsara. And this Srishta Jagat, this Srishti, what the Jiva created, that is because of Ajnanam. That is because of Ajnanam. Therefore only he suffers. Therefore only he suffers. Therefore only samsara is. So now the person has to wake up. Wake up from wake up from the individual, the subjective reality to the reality. So he has to wake up from the dream. Even while living in the empirical world is in the dream world only. Even though he is awake, but still he is in dream. He is in, that's called Maya. That is called the Maya. Maya is not something which from outside affects you. It is your own creation, self projection that creates problem for you. That from that one has to come. So living in the same world, a jnani experiences joy all the time, whereas an ajnani experiences sorrow. So what could be the cause for that? One's own srishti, one's own projection. That is because of ajnanam, ignorance alone. That is purely because of ajnanam. So ajnanam is the cause. This all pervading, this atma, this atma, all pervading atma, how can it be the cause of samsara? Or how can anatma? There is no anatma because we have seen everything is Bhagavan, everything being Ishvara. So how can this be the cause of samsara? It cannot be. So the cause of samsara is ajnanam. That ajnanam is also located, it has got its ashraya in Atma alone. So the Atma, the reality of myself is covered by this notional thinking. That is ajnanam. That has to go. One has to wake up from that and see that everything has Atma. When that vision happens, then the person is really free. Nothing can touch him. Nothing can touch him. And Maranam really for whom it's a Maranam? Maranam itself is Mithya. Janma is Mithya, Maranam is also Mithya. So, how can Maranam also can be the cause of the, the grief? It cannot be because it is Mithya, it is not the reality. That which is real is absolutely there. All the time it is there. Sat is there. Atma is there. How can it die? How can it undergo the process of death? It is not possible. So what comes and what goes is only this shariram. Shariram only as this, that is mithya. And if you analyze the content of that, it is atma. Atma doesn't come and go. So what comes and goes is only a nama rupa. Like the form of the gold changes from necklace to bangle. But what is there is only gold only. So gold being there all the way, all the time. Atma is there all the time. So where is the cause for worry? Therefore, na shochitam margasi. It doesn't, you don't deserve to worry upon this. And another important thing to be understood by Vedantin is Vedanta gives the solution, absolute solution, absolute solution for the problem of samsara. For the problem of samsara, that is, ajnanam is the cause, ajnanam has to go, jnanam has to come, jnanam you have to gain. By jnanam, this ajnanam goes away. When ajnanam goes away, then when you understand, when ajnanam goes away, when you understand that you are Atma, this Jagat Karanam, Brahma is you. When that understanding happens, samsara goes away. So it is only for the sadhaka who really wants to know the tattvam, who really wants to be free from this samsara. For him only the Vedanta will help. For him only the Vedanta will help. So Vedanta is only for the person who has got certain relative security, relative happiness, relative comfort. Only that person, only for that person Vedanta will work. Only for that person Vedanta will work. For the person who has got emotional issues, who has who has got who has got problem of family, who has got the problem of the lack of the money, wealth, or other problems, for them, Vedanta will not help. For Vedanta, one has to grow out of all the three Purushartha, Dharma, Artha, Kama Purushartha. You should ask only for freedom, then only Vedanta will work. You ask for money, you ask for all the comfort, the pleasures which are gained from the Anatma, that you want, that also is required, that is your motive, and thinking that Vedanta will solve the problem, then Vedanta will not solve the problem. Because according to Vedanta, there is no problem. Vedanta doesn't see problem. Where is problem from the standpoint of Vedanta? There is no problem. There is no samsara for Vedanta. There is no ajnanam for Vedanta, therefore there is no samsara for Vedanta. So for the problems, what one experience in the world, for that, Vedanta cannot give you solution. Vedanta doesn't see problem, therefore it cannot give solution. Vedanta gives ultimate solution. It dissolves a problem. It dissolves a problem. So if you have some emotional issue, emotional pain is there. For that, whether psychology may be helping. For that, hypnotherapy may be helping. So that because they recognize a problem, they see the problem. For Vedanta, there is no problem. And that too, psychology or hypnotherapy, they have solution, but not permanent solution. All their problems which are there in the subconscious, everybody has got subconscious. In that subconscious, all the basic issues are there, stored as a memory. So the modern scientific techniques like psychology or hypnotherapy may be of some help, but it cannot solve. That's why Swamiji used to say, Vedanta has no problem, psychology has no solution. Psychology has really no solution for the emotional problems what we have. It can give only temporary solution. It cannot fix the problem permanently. And for Vedanta also cannot do, because Vedanta doesn't see problem. Where is the problem? It will ask. If you say, I have the problem, I have this emotional problem, then you will say the very basic questions. Are the emotional problems real? Where it is located? If the tattvam is you, the Atma, where are these emotional problems? All these emotional are nothing but mithya. It really, when you ask a question, it doesn't stand. It disappears. It dissolves. That's why Vedanta dissolves a problem. That is why to come to Vedanta, one should be a sufficiently matured person. One should be sufficiently matured person to understand what Vedanta can give. So therefore, one must be a relatively an accomplished person in life, satisfied person in life. In spite of the satisfaction, now the person is searching for that, gaining which he will be absolutely free, absolutely satisfied. That is the search. That is the inner search. That is there in the form of Viveka Vairagya. For that person only Vedanta will help. And these emotional problems, whatever what the person has gained over a period of time, that one has to handle it. That is why when you see Dakshina Murti, you see the apasmara at the below the feet of Dakshina Murti. Dakshina Murti places his 1 feet on a small demon. It's a demon. It's not a child. It's a demon. You can see the face. It's a fully grown face, adult face, having a knife in his hand, ready to kill the person. But Dakshinamurti, he keeps his one leg on that person, doesn't kill. It doesn't kill. He keeps his leg, his feet on that person and keeps him in check, because that cannot be destroyed. And he also cannot destroy. He can destroy you. That is possible. But Dakshinamurti, being the Lord, he symbolically represents that you also can keep the subconscious, all the emotions which are in the subconscious in check. You cannot destroy it because already formed. When the child grows, the child grows up to the 4 or 5 years, some used to say up to 4 or 5 years, the child's subconscious is formed. Whatever it gains from the mother and the father, all the emotional things it picks up. A child, when it is born, it is insecure. It feels the mother is secure. Then later realizes mother is also not secure. So the problem of security, insecurity, it is starts developing in the very childhood stage itself. That is why a child has to be given the sense of the security, given the sense of security, that they to see that the subconscious has to be healthy. Only when the subconscious is healthy, then the child grows up, it will grow with least emotional problems. Least emotional, because it cannot be avoided. Emotional problems must be there. That is how it is. But a child can grow with least emotional problem. That depends on how the parents bring up the child. So the emotional problems being there, it is formed in the early stage that keeps continuing till the person grows. It cannot be destroyed, but it can be kept in check. That is what Dakshinamurti, placing his feet on Apasmara, it symbolizes, it represents. Therefore, for the emotional problems, Vedanta cannot be the solution. But for the problem of the for the people who want to this problem of samsara, who are searching after this, which will give them total security, permanent peace, for them only Vedanta will help. Because Vedanta requires you to change the vision. You perceive the same world, the same people, but your vision changes. Your vision has to change. So you should be ready for the vision change, not for changing the people, not for changing the world. When you can't change yourself, how can you change the world or the people around? So the vision has to change. Your vision of the same thing what you were perceiving now changes after the vision of the Vedanta. For that, one has to be prepared for it. So it is only a vision change. It is not the person change or not the world change. It is the vision, your perception towards yourself and perception towards the world changes. You being the same person, you become a knowledgeable person, you become a jnani. Therefore, here, Nashochitum Argasi really doesn't deserve to be worried. Drona and Bhishma, they cannot be destroyed. So here Bhagavan tried to bring up the vision, the Vedanta vision in the mind of Arjuna, saying that everything being Sat Atma, and Atma it is Nityaha, Sarvagataha, it cannot be destroyed. And you are worrying about the killing of Drona and Bhishma. How can they be killed? So Arjuna has the emotional problem. Attachment is there with them because they have brought them up. So he has got that attachment, emotions. That is fine, but they are standing on the side of adharma. Therefore, being a Kshatriya, being a Dharmika person, it becomes a duty of Arjuna to kill them, to destroy them. Therefore, and in the destruction, he need not worry also because he is not really destroying, cannot really destroy them. What he can destroy is only the Sharira. The Sharira comes and goes. Therefore, no need to worry. That is the teaching of Bhagavan Krishna. The next shloka, 26th shloka, which we are supposed to start today, which we'll see in the next class. Yam Brahma Varunendra Rudra Marutaha Stunvanti Divyaistavaihi Vedai Sangapadakramopanisadaihi Gayanti Yam Samagaha Dhyanavastita Tadgatena Manasa पश्यन्ति यं योगिनः यस्यान्तं न विदुस्वरासुरगणाः देवाय तस्मै नमः। ॐ पूर्णमदः पूर्णमिदं पूर्णात् पूर्णमुदच्यते पूर्णस्य पूर्णमादाय पूर्णमेवावशिष्यते। ॐ शान्तिः शान्तिः शान्तिः। हरिः ॐ श्री गुरुभ्यो नमः। हरिः ॐ।
धन्यवाद गुरुजी।
धन्यवाद गुरुजी।
धन्यवाद गुरुजी।
धन्यवाद गुरुजी।
धन्यवाद
हरि ओम
गुरुजी।
गुरुजी।
धन्यवाद।